A bride had to get married in her sister's place because her sister ran away from home a few days before the wedding. The groom was a mysterious guy who didn't want to reveal his identity. After the wedding, they played cat and mouse with each other. But after some time, he really fell in love with her. But the problem was she already had someone she loved. After going through many difficulties, love, jealousy, conspiracies, and hatred, could they overcome everything to be together forever? A beautiful bride stepped out of a luxury car, and as soon as she touched the ground, she was pulled straight into the wedding. From the outside, it looked like the most important day of her life, the day she had always looked forward to, and the happiest day of her life. But no one knew she wasn't the real bride but a substitute for her sister. Even more strange was the groom's mysterious nature. Even in the wedding picture, there was only the bride, and no one knew where the groom was. For the sake of her family, she reluctantly accepted this absurd marriage, even though she didn't want to. It was time for the wedding ceremony, but the groom was still nowhere to be found. The bride hugged a dog beside her and pretended it was her husband to complete all the wedding rituals. Seizing the opportunity, she gathered all her strength and ran away from this absurd wedding. The bodyguards immediately surrounded her, but they couldn't catch her. She ran straight to the main hall, and at that moment, a Maybach suddenly appeared. She rushed over and stole the car without knowing that the person sitting in the back was her groom. After calming down, she noticed someone behind her. Without thinking, she immediately stopped the car on the side of the road and asked for his help. Before asking for help, she had to explain why she stole his car. Ye kept explaining that she was forced into a desperate situation by bad people, so she had to do this. She also thanked the handsome car owner and was willing to call him Master. Because they were so focused on talking, they didn't notice a street thug had stolen the Maybach worth tens of billions. After realizing this, Ye immediately took off her high heels. She replaced them with a pair of flip-flops she found on the side of the road and chased after the thief. Because he was driving in a narrow alleyway with a lot of people, he was quickly caught by Ye. Ye successfully got the luxury car back for Jen Chen. On the way back, Jen Chen was curious to know why Ye ran away from her wedding. Hearing his question, Ye calmly replied that she did it because that was not the life she wanted. She wanted to love the person she liked and marry the person she loved. She said, "The person who stays by my side for the rest of my life has to be someone I have feelings for." Then she demanded to get out of the car in the middle of nowhere. But in such a deserted place, she didn't know where to go, so she had to accept to go with him for a while. Exhausted, she fell asleep without realizing it. Seeing this, Jen Chen took her to his room. At this moment, he received a phone call. The person on the other end of the line said his brother had returned to the country. Shortly after, his grandfather called him. He really didn't understand why they had run away together on the most important day of their lives. On the other side, Ye was not at peace as her father came to look for her. Even though Ye kept saying that no one would force their daughter to marry a stranger, her father was still forcing her for the sake of the family. Then he took out the ID card of Siya, Ye's twin sister. From today on, Ye will be Siya. He then turned and left without saying another word. Ye opened the door to run after her father, but was stopped by the chubby butler. She wanted to run away, but the butler stopped her. She thought locking the main door would be enough. But who would have thought Ye would escape through the window? After landing safely, Ye took the luxury car and sped away. On the other hand, Jen Chen was in an important meeting when he suddenly received a call from the butler. The butler informed him that his wife had returned home for a short time, and then took the car and ran away. Through the phone's location tracker, Jen Chen knew Ye's location. He immediately drove his luxurious G63 after her. Ye kept driving until it was pitch black. She was about to crash into the car in front of her because she wasn't paying attention, but she dodged the bullet. Instead of hitting the car in front of her, Ye drove straight into a pile of steel drums on the side of the road. Ye just ran out to check the situation when the car door automatically locked. At this time, it started raining heavily. In this situation, Jen Chen brought an umbrella to pick her up. To be honest, Jen Chen was very unconvinced by Ye's audacity. Being a woman, she dared to steal a car and run away. In Ye's mind, her husband was old and ugly. She had no idea that the handsome guy in front of her was actually her husband. When he got Ye back to the gate, Jen Chen gave her a phone. He told her to call him if she needed anything. Then he turned and left. Back in her room, Ye thought about what her father had said. She had to keep this a secret, otherwise her father would go to jail. Ye was deep in thought when suddenly the power went out. A man slowly walked into the room, and that man was Jen Chen. Because he didn't want Ye to see his face, he had to turn off the lights. As soon as he entered the room, he realized that he was her husband. Knowing this, Ye immediately proposed to cancel the engagement. In order to get a divorce, she didn't hesitate to say she already had another man. He was a wild and attractive man. Hearing this, Jen Chen asked if he was as wild as him. Then he gave her a passionate kiss. After that, Jen Chen wanted Yu to bring the man she mentioned to meet him. Ye was brushing her teeth while thinking, "Where can I find a man who's wild like that?" On the other side, Jen Chen was also busy. While driving, he called his secretary, Lin, to ask why girls usually like wild men. Hearing this, Secretary Lin invited him to the bar. Jen Chen sat in the bar, but didn't care about the fancy things around him. He sat there and drank alone, getting so drunk that he lost consciousness. Seeing this, Secretary Lin called Yu and asked her to pick Jen Chen up. Taking this rare opportunity, Yu took the chance to take some cute pictures with Jen Chen. They looked like a couple deeply in love. The next morning, as soon as he woke up, Jen Chen found himself at Secretary Lin's house. He couldn't understand how he got here. Why was his body in so much pain? Just then, Ye called to check on him. She also sent him the pictures she took yesterday. After a lot of thought, Yu decided to ask Jen Chen for help this time. She didn't know who else to ask. She told him why she had to do this. To get a divorce from her husband, Yu lied about having another man. Who would have thought her husband would ask to meet him? Now, no one could save her but Jen Chen. After much begging, Jen Chen finally agreed to help her. Soon after, the chubby butler rushed in to tell Yu the news. Her husband said that at 11 a.m. today, she should bring her man to Zue Park. Without hesitation, Yu immediately called Jen Chen. After getting dressed, they went to the park. When they got there, the young couple sat on a bench and talked about their marriage and family life. Yu shared that she wanted a simple love, the kind where you fall in love first and then get married. Hearing this, Jen Chen hugged her. He explained that that's how you're supposed to be in love. They were talking when Ye had to go to the bathroom. Coincidentally, she ran into Jen Chen's kind-hearted older brother. He took her in his car to some place. Then he dropped her off in the middle of the highway. Jen Chen called his brother to ask for Yue's location. After getting the specific address, he immediately rushed to pick her up. As soon as he found Yue, he hugged her tightly. He was sure she knew how dangerous it was to be on the highway. Then they went back home. Yue introduced the butler to him, saying, "This is my new master," without knowing that this was Jen Chen, the butler's boss. She urged him to leave quickly because if Jen Chen found out, it wouldn't be good. However, he insisted on staying to check on her injured leg. At this time, the kind-hearted brother was with Saya, Yue's sister. He praised her sister for being very interesting. Sia also hoped he wouldn't go after her little sister. The next morning, her useless father came to find Yue. He hoped she could go to her sister's graduation ceremony instead of Sia. Although she didn't want to, Yue had to accept due to her father's request. Then she went to find the headmaster to ask about her sister's closest friend. It sounded ridiculous, but it was true. She didn't know who her sister was close to. At that time, Jen Chen and his secretary were also watching her from afar. By chance, Yu met Xu Zhe, who was from the same hometown as her. They had lunch and talked. He also knew that Yu had to replace her sister in the wedding. She also asked him to keep it a secret because it was dangerous for her whole family. Just as Jen Chen arrived, she was wiping Xu Zhe's mouth. Seeing this, Jen Chen was furious and walked towards them, demanding an explanation before forcibly kissing Yu. Surprised, she slapped him and left. Then she went back home to freshen up. As usual, but only a few seconds later, all the lights in the house went out. Jen Chen reappeared. The two went to the living room and talked. Yue kept demanding a divorce. Jen Chen forced Yue to pay 10,000 yuan in divorce fees. Then he lowered the price to 1,000 yuan for Yue. He was about to leave when she grabbed his hand and agreed to his request. After that, Jen Chen went to Secretary Lin's house to wait for Yue. He asked for her help in getting 1,000 yen, but no one called. Secretary Lin advised Jen Chen to take the lead. Hearing this, Jen Chen seemed to have an idea in his mind. The next day was also Sia's graduation day. Yue was forced to attend the graduation ceremony in her sister's place. Everyone around her was taking pictures with their families and loved ones. Only Yue was alone. Then the headmaster asked her to help him take an upperclassman to visit the school. It turned out to be Jen Chen. As they were walking, Yue introduced the surroundings of the school to him. When they stopped at the Love Bridge, she was mesmerized by Jen Chen's beauty. Ye froze for 5 seconds. Jen Chen also took the initiative to apologize to her for what happened before. She refused his apology and left to pay for the divorce. The next day, she went to work at Xu shop. Guess what? At that time, Jen Chen also arrived there with his partners. After they both sat down to eat, he called the manager up and demanded that Ye be fired, but Xu refused. After that, Jen Chen took Ye outside. He asked her to quit her job here and come work for his company. He would pay her double the salary. However, Ye refused and continued to work, ignoring Jen Chen outside. Jen Chen went home and gave his butler a powerful black card. He asked him to give it to Ye and tell her it was her own property. The butler went upstairs to give it to Ye, but he saw her practicing boxing with a dummy. He was about to give her the black card when she refused and almost punched him. The next day, Ye went to work as usual. After work, she saw Jen Chen waiting outside. He continued to persuade her to work for his company. Then she left with Xu. On the other side, Sia was still with the kind-hearted older brother, despite everyone's worry and search for her. Ye was packing her bags to prepare for a business trip when Secretary Lin came and said that her master was sick. At first, she didn't want to go, but then she decided to go to the hospital with Secretary Lin. Seeing Ye caring for him, even though he was happy, Jen Chen still pretended to be arrogant. Seeing that his head was hot, she wanted to call a nurse, but there was no one outside, so she took care of him herself. The next morning, when he woke up, Jen Chen saw Ye asleep in his arms. She almost sent him to the afterlife by accidentally lying on top of his necklace. To compensate, Jen Chen asked Ye to tell him about her relationship with Xu. She avoided the question and he pulled her back. She had helped him, so he would help her get the divorce money. After leaving the hospital, Jen Chen took Ye to his company to work. At first, Ye was still afraid that her husband would find out because she still thought the man in front of her was Jen Chen's subordinate, but Jen Chen reassured her. He said this was his company, and he had the responsibility to manage it, so she didn't have to worry. Then he took her home and demanded that she thank him with a meal. Ye didn't want to, but she reluctantly brought him home. Nervous, she said she would invite him to a meal, but she only cooked him a simple instant noodle dish that anyone could make. The chubby butler also came in to help her, and even praised her cooking. Ye wondered why Jen Chen paid him, and yet he supported her. She brought out a bowl of noodles, but Jen Chen refused to eat. He was about to tell the butler about what happened last night, but she covered his mouth. Then she quickly went inside to cook for him. Ye's food was really delicious. Jen Chen asked her why she didn't open a restaurant with her cooking skills. Ye told him that she also dreamed of opening a small restaurant someday. Coincidentally, that dream was also Jen Chen's dream. Even though he couldn't eat spicy food, he still tried to eat the spicy dishes that Ye loved. Love really makes people foolish. After taking a bite, he quickly went into the kitchen to drink some water. At that moment, he received a call from his secretary, Lin, saying that Ye had booked a high-speed train ticket to Chuandian. Later, she received a message saying that her train was canceled, but she didn't know it was Jen Chen who canceled it. Jen Chen laughed it off, pretending not to know anything. The next day was Ye's first day at the company, so Secretary Lin had to change the sign from General Director Wen to Manager Wen to avoid her noticing. She went to the interview room and was immediately offered the position of assistant to Manager Wen. However, she refused because she was new to the company and only dared to be a receptionist. The HR manager remembered General Director Wen's words, because General Director Wen asked him to fulfill all her requests, so he agreed to let her work as a receptionist. Then, he received a message from Ye, saying that she had accepted the job and thanked him. Jen Chen immediately put on his chairman persona and reviewed documents, but he waited, and she didn't show up. He was disappointed with the useless HR guy for letting her be a receptionist despite his instructions to make her his assistant. At the end of the day, she received her salary from Manager Zhang. She then texted Jen Chen, saying she would treat him to dinner to thank him. On the other side, Xu was still looking for Ziya. He found a picture extracted from the camera and saw Ziya hugging another man. Xu was heartbroken and drank alone. Ye received a call and knew that Xu was drunk. Immediately, she gave Jen Chen the slip and went to see Xu's situation. Jen Chen also came and carried her out. After that, he asked Secretary Lin to take Xu home. After handling that, they went to a street food stall for dinner. Jen Chen never ate this kind of food, especially not in places like this, but because of her, he ate the things he didn't like and sat in places he didn't want to be. While they were happily eating, he asked her if she liked that guy, Xu Zhe. Why did she like him? Yuye replied that he was kind and handsome. Jin Chen showed her a picture from Secretary Lin. She asked him to delete it, but he also asked her to compliment him on his handsome looks before he would delete it. He put her hand on his chest. Ye was embarrassed and just sat there drinking. She drank a lot until she was completely drunk. Then, Jin Chen had to carry her to her bed. The next morning, she woke up and realized she was about to be late for work. She got ready and went to the company in a hurry. She was about to enter when she met Xiao Rong. Ye thought she was a leader, so she was nervous. After asking, she found out Xiao Rong was also new. The two of them immediately became friends. Yu had just been working as a receptionist for one day when Manager Zhang came to tell her that she had been promoted to assistant manager. At first, she refused. Ye was about to leave when Secretary Lin listed all the benefits of being Jin Chen's assistant, as quick as an ex-lover turning their back on you. She agreed to become Manager Wen's assistant. As soon as she was appointed, she was given the task of preparing lunch for him. At that moment, Xu called saying he had important business to discuss with her. Ye asked Secretary Lin to help her prepare and quickly went to meet Xu. It turned out that Xu had found information that her sister, Ziya, was in Wenda City. Knowing that Xu was always eager for his sister to come back, she thought he only cared about her because of Ziya. Xu explained that he had always treated Yu like his sister. Those words made Yu very sad. She wanted to call her mother to talk about it, but her mother was busy playing mahjong. Yu went to her usual bar and drank alone. At that moment, Jin Chen came and gave her her salary for the day. He sat beside her and hugged her. Then they went home. Jin Chen took her to rest, but then she said she wanted to divorce him because of Xu Zhe. Hearing this, Jin Chen left in a huff. The next morning, Yuye was getting ready to go out when she found out that Jin Chen had forbidden her from leaving for 3 days. Yuye was furious and was about to climb out the window when she saw that the window was blocked with iron bars. She quickly used a chisel to get out. 1 minute and 30 seconds later, Yuye arrived at the company, but her ID card was expired and she couldn't get in because Jin Chen had fired her. Thanks to her quick hands, Yuye used Secretary Lin's ID card to open the door and go up to see Manager Wen. At first, he was still angry about her liking Xu Zhe, and she was also late for work. But then, he agreed to let Yuye continue working. He quickly gave her her daily tasks, with a pile of documents that she needed to finish. With the help of Secretary Lin, Yuye finished the paperwork, and then submitted it to Manager Wen. She asked him to sign her late arrival report, and found out his signature was Sunan, Manager Wen's English name. He also gave her an extra bonus. Receiving the bonus, Yuye was as happy as winning a lottery. As long as you're happy. And money? No problem. Wen Junchen told Secretary Lin to give her more bonuses in the future. After that, Yo-Yo continuously received bonuses. Soon, she saved up nearly 90,000 yuan, only 10,000 yuan short of enough for a divorce. Yo-Yo just finished her report to submit to him. Jin Chen took the opportunity, although she was going out to eat with him tonight. He gave his wallet and phone to Secretary Lin. Yuye quickly waited for him downstairs. They went to a very luxurious place, one that Yuye had probably only been to once in her life. Then all kinds of luxurious dishes were brought out, and the wine was also a luxury. Yuye let the phone eat first, and then she ate. Seeing Yuye awkwardly not knowing how to use the fork and knife, Jin Chen helped her. Yuye was also smitten by his sophistication. After the meal, she called for the bill and was shocked by the 58,000 yuan price tag. She was about to pay Jin Chen. She didn't have money, and this meal was also her treat for him. Soon after, Yuye pretended to go out and ran away, leaving him alone. But thinking about him getting punched for skipping out on the bill, she softened and came back to pay. When she got home, she couldn't stop thinking about the money she had spent. She was almost ready to divorce. The next day, when she arrived at the company, she was surprised to find that she was now a special assistant with a huge salary of 58,000 yuan a month, not including performance and bonuses. Her grandfather also called Jin Chen and said that Ziya's assets were nothing. What he wanted was to cherish a talent like her. If she didn't perform well, it wouldn't be necessary. Jin Chen also spoke well of her. As soon as he finished, Yuye brought Jin Chen 2 glasses of iced matcha. What was special was that she only took 11 seconds to run downstairs to buy the iced tea. In the following days, Yoya was always with Jin Chen at meetings and projects. Whether it was trying out a treadmill or a lock, she tried everything. Her grandfather was extremely surprised when she easily unlocked the latest anti-theft lock. After taking her home, Jin Chen intentionally used the excuse that his house was far away to stay over. Even though Yoya didn't want him to, Jin Chen insisted on going in himself. He went to bed, but waited and waited, and Yo-Yo didn't come in. It turned out she had fallen asleep in the living room. Even though he had told Butler Gee to lock all the rooms, she used a small lock to unlock them. The next day, when they went to the company, after the meeting, Jin Chen told Ye to get ready. She would be going to a land auction with him soon. Immediately, she went to her best friend's house and asked her to help pick out some outfits. When they got there, Jin Chen was very disappointed to see Yu dressed in all checkered clothes. Without thinking twice, he immediately took her to choose clothes. But they couldn't agree all day because the prices were too high. So Ye rejected all the items. She said they didn't suit her. Ye decided to decline to go to the auction with Jin Chen that day. When she got home, she was surprised to find that her master had sent some gorgeous and luxurious clothes to her house. Ye had just finished taking a bath, and the lights in the room were also off. Jin Chen walked in and said that Manager Wen was very talented, so he respected him very much. If she helped him this time, he would break off the engagement. The next day, Yu was wearing the gorgeous outfit that Jin Chen had prepared for her, going to the auction. They quickly took their pre-arranged seats. Everyone was bidding enthusiastically, but Jin Chen just sat there without making any move. At this time, his brother called a girl and told her that she needed to get the land, and not to be soft-hearted because of love. The auction was still ongoing. At this time, the highest bid was only 600 million. Jin Chen suddenly offered 800 million. It seemed like the land was sure to be his, but then a girl appeared and offered 900 million, causing him to lose the land. It turned out to be his ex-girlfriend. Despite her trying to persuade him and tell him about her feelings, Jin Chen ignored her and was still going to pursue the girl he loved. At this time, Manager Lin also led Yue to the place where Jin Chen had prepared to confess his feelings to her. Through Manager Lin's words, she also knew that this girl was his first love. Then, she left. When Jin Chen came back, Yue was gone. Because he couldn't bid on the land, he was scolded by his grandfather. His grandfather also said he would make an appointment with Yi Jiyu, his ex-girlfriend, who had just returned to China after many years living abroad. The next day, his grandfather met Yi Jiyu. The land was very important, so he agreed to cooperate with her on the condition that Jin Chen would have to participate in the project himself. On the other side, Xiuzhe was drowning himself in alcohol because he knew that Yoya's sister was chasing another man. Yoya learned that her sister had made her be a substitute for love for another man, and she was very angry. As soon as Yoya arrived at the company, she saw her grandfather, Yi Jiyu, and everyone else talking. Moreover, she was kicked out. Jin Chen followed her. When they got home, they saw that Ye was leaving. All her luggage was packed. Ye was thinking about the memories between her and Jin Chen. Then, she was at her mother's house. Soon after, Jin Chen told Secretary Lin to mobilize everyone. He had to find Yu for him. He quickly went downstairs and took the company phone, called Yue, and said he would make Manager Wen's life miserable. This made Ye very worried. Then, she asked Xiaorong to go to Manager Wen's office and take a picture of her. Knowing that Xiaorong was Yu's best friend, at that moment, her brother was also going to visit him. Jin Chen asked his brother to pretend to punch him, and at that moment, Xiaorong took a picture of it and sent it to Yu. Receiving the picture, Yue was very worried about Jin Chen. Jin Chen lay down and looked at the pictures he had taken with Yu. He couldn't sleep. Wen Liangyi also went to the bar where Xiuzhe often sat. He took the initiative to approach and get to know Xiuzhe. Then, they talked a lot together. Wen Liangyi also wanted Xiuzhe to talk about his love life. The purpose was to probe the situation. The next morning, Yue received a call from Xiaorong saying that Manager Wen's situation was getting worse because he didn't win the auction and he was confined to his home. At the same time, Jin Chen was about to go out when he suddenly met his grandfather and Yi Jiyu, so he was dragged into the meeting. Upon receiving the news, Ye immediately took a bus to the city. This time, his grandfather handed the project to Jin Chen to work with Yi Jiyu. In this case, he was forced to agree. After the meeting, he used his G63 car to go look for Yu. Unexpectedly, Yi Ji-yu intentionally got in the car to go with him. Even though he didn't want to, he still had to accept. At this time, Yue had also returned home. Coincidentally, she met Wen Liangyi in front of her house and thought it was Jin Chen. She blamed him for targeting Manager Wen so that she could get a quick divorce. She did what he said and went with him to a place. First, he took her to a street food stall. On the other hand, Jin Chen had been looking for Yue but had no news. He ate at the restaurant where he and Yiji used to eat. Then, Wen Liangyi took Yue to the hotel. Yue was about to run away when Liangyi stopped her. She wanted to call Manager Wen but remembered that he was punched. So, she called Qiu Zhe to rescue her. She thought that Liangyi would do something to her, but he left and told her not to tell anyone about this. Soon after, Qiu Zhe came to pick her up and was photographed by Liangyi. When Liangyi sent it to Yijiyu, then she showed it to Jin Chen. The next morning, Yue stayed at Xiaorong's place. She was very thoughtful and prepared breakfast for Xiaorong. She also didn't forget to prepare a lunchbox for Manager Wen, and then asked Xiaorong to bring it for her. Manager Wen was pretentious and refused to eat, saying for Secretary Lin to throw it away, but Secretary Lin kept it to eat. He was about to eat when he had to go out. When he came back, he saw Manager Wen eating the lunchbox because he recognized the taste of Yue's cooking. Xiaorong was also called in because she was the one who brought the lunchbox. Jin Chen was sure that Yue had prepared it. Then he pretended to be poisoned so that Yue would come to the hospital to visit him. She rushed to his room, and he suddenly popped out from behind the wall and carried her away. He forbids her from leaving like that again. She couldn't run away from him. When Yue refused, he forcefully kissed her. It seemed she didn't like it. She also cooperated seamlessly. Then she was startled and ran out, reacting to the action. Jin Chen expressed his feelings, saying that he liked her. He also decided to move in there from now on, until she agreed to like him. Then, Manager Wen went out and told Butler Gi that he would pursue her from now on. That night, Yue continued to go out, taking a taxi to Xuzhe's shop. But she was suddenly stopped by Jin Chen. He carried her back to the room. Jin Chen was about to kiss Yue when she dodged him, causing him to hit his face on the mattress. Jin Chen also asked why Yue was staying at the hotel with Xiu Jie. She was about to tell him everything when she remembered what Liangyi had told her at the hotel. So she dodged the question by asking if his wounds from the previous day were all right. Manager Wen was about to kiss her when she avoided him. She said that he could respect her a little bit. How could he still harass me when he knows I'm married? Manager Wen wanted to tell her his real identity, but he couldn't yet. Then she chased him out. At this time, he also received a call from Yijiyu. She asked when he would continue with the next project. He ignored her words. At this time, Yijiyu was with Liangyi. Liangyi believed she could do it and left for a heart-to-heart conversation with Xuzhe at the bar. At this time, Manager Wen turned off the lights in the room and became Jin Chen, talking to Yue. He wanted her to continue working at the company with Manager Wen. He wanted her to help Manager Wen regain the development rights to a commercial area. He also didn't forget to advise her to use the beauty trick on Manager Wen. If not, he wouldn't let Manager Wen live in peace. Xiaorong also did as Yue asked and went to check on Manager Wen's current situation, only to find out that he had taken a week off. Xiaorong also told Yue. She said that because of the shock, Manager Wen had taken a week off. Xiaorong asked Secretary Lin and found out the hotel where Manager Wen was staying. Then, Yue went to visit him, but at this time, Jin Chen was like an autistic person. He only acted but didn't say a word. He kept saying that he was a loser, making Yue very worried about the current situation. Did she have to stay and take care of him? She cooked a lot of delicious dishes that Manager Wen liked to eat, but no matter how she called him, he wouldn't come out. He only came out when Yue threatened to leave. Jin Chen was about to continue the scene of Ryu's to eat when his hungry stomach growled, so he couldn't hold back and ate a lot. Yue was lying on the sofa when Jin Chen suddenly came out, saying that he couldn't sleep because he was afraid of the dark, to give him an excuse to sleep with Yue. Jin Chen asked Yue to hug him. Then he turned around and hugged her, falling asleep on the sofa. The next morning when she woke up, Yue was still sleeping soundly in Jin Chen's arms. He stroked her hair. Jin Chen was about to kiss her when Yue woke up. Seeing this, he just blushed and left. Then, they went to have breakfast together. Yue advised Jin Chen to go back to work at the company because the company needed him. At this time, his grandfather and Yijiyu were coming to the company for a survey. Just at this moment, Secretary Lin was also there. Fortunately, he was able to cover up the Manager Wen. Sign in time. Ye also went to talk to Xiaorong about Jin Chen's current condition. Xiaorong diagnosed Jin Chen with social withdrawal syndrome, so he could easily do something reckless. Worried about Manager Wen, Ye immediately went back to the hotel. She quickly opened the door and saw him holding a bottle of medicine. She quickly hugged him and said in a sweet voice, "I won't let you leave me. Even if the whole world hates you, I will always be by your side." Then they went home together. Gigi was always welcoming to the two of them. He wanted to cook for them to eat, but Ye stopped him. Today she would personally go to the kitchen to cook. They ate together happily. Manager Wen wanted to go upstairs to sleep, when Ye took him to sleep on the sofa, because she was afraid Jin Chen would find out. Just when he was taking the opportunity to hug Ye, Butler Gi came down. However, the butler pretended to be sleepwalking. The next morning when she woke up, Ye saw that Jin Chen had been up early, preparing breakfast for her. She thought he would let her enjoy delicious food, but who would have thought he would give her burnt eggs? Even though it wasn't good, Ye still tried to eat it to please him. Then they went to work at the company. While holding hands in the elevator, the door opened, and they unexpectedly met Yi Jiyu. Then, Yi Jiyu and Jin Chen went to talk about work. Yi Jiyu wanted to compete fairly with Ye, but Jin Chen said that was unnecessary. He loved her very much and she was now his wife, so they had nothing to compete for. He also hoped she would take her work seriously. When she went back, she didn't forget to tease Ye. Then, the two of them had a private meeting. Yi Jiyu hoped Ye could leave Jin Chen. If not, this project would fail. Of course, Ye wouldn't be easily subdued like that. After meeting with Yi Jiyu, Ye invited Manager Wen to have dinner with her. She took him to a luxurious place and told him he could order whatever he wanted. She told him not to look at the price, just order freely. Hearing this, Jin Chen was very surprised. Ye was thinking about quitting, but Jin Chen disagreed and tried to ask if anyone had bullied her, but she didn't answer. She said she just felt that she couldn't help him much when she was by his side all day. She only knew how to cheer him up. When she got home, Ye was lost in thought again. She was afraid that if Jin Chen found out she was quitting, he would think what? While overthinking, the lights suddenly went out. Jin Chen appeared and talked to her. It turned out he knew that Yi Jiyu had threatened her. Ye also hoped to be able to quit, but Jin Chen didn't agree. He said she needed to stay at the company to help Manager Wen. Taking this opportunity, she took out her phone, intending to look at his face. Jin Chen quickly took out his phone, shone it in her eyes, and stopped her in time. Then he left and blamed Yi for turning on the lights so early when he hadn't given the order. The next morning, when she arrived at the company, Ye decided to stay and fight side by side with Jin Chen. Jin Chen also asked his secretary to go to a jewelry store to find something for him. At this time, Ye also asked Xiaorong to help her with something. Coincidentally, they met at the jewelry store. Ye went home and gave Gi the button she had found from Jin Chen. Then, she saw Gi sewing the button onto the shirt that Manager Wen usually wore. That night, Jin Chen came again and turned off all the lights, but Ye was prepared. The light bulb in the room suddenly turned on, and she knew that Manager Wen was Jin Chen. Jin Chen was about to leave when Ye stopped him. Ye asked why he was doing this. At this moment, she finally realized that he was doing this because of her. Ye ran downstairs and saw Gi turning on the lights. She blamed him for also deceiving her. Jin Chen gave her time to calm down and think. Ye sat alone, listless, thinking about what had happened. She blamed herself for only figuring this out now. She still thought Wen Liangyi was an actor hired by Jin Chen to deceive her. Ye went to Xiaorong's house. She told her everything, under the guise of a friend's story, to Xiaorong. She ran upstairs to answer Jin Chen's phone call, and found out that it was actually her own story. Jin Chen comforted her, not to be angry. However, Ye hung up the phone afterward. The next day, the manager sign was changed to general manager. But sadly, Ye submitted her resignation for a year. Jin Chen found Xiaorong to find information about Yue, but the result was futile. Even if he threatened to change jobs, she still wouldn't betray her friend. To make Yue remember him, Jin Chen went from being someone who appeared on social media to now appearing on all the newspapers. He didn't hesitate to publicly reveal his feelings. On the other side, Wen Liangyi was still at the bar, talking to Xu Zhe. Xu Zhe also found out that Wen Liangyi was Jin Chen's brother. He always advised Xu Zhe to give up trying to pursue that woman because he knew that the person Xu Zhe was pursuing was his girlfriend. At this time, Yuye was walking around her house. She felt someone following her, so she ran very fast, but she couldn't catch up. Thinking it was a pervert, she fought back, but it turned out to be Jin Chen. He came to apologize to Yuye for everything that had happened. He hoped she could forgive him. He also bought a meaningful ring for Yuye. The next day, Yuye went to work at the company with Jin Chen. She couldn't focus on her work because of the handsome man she loved. However, she thought in her head that she needed to be sober because he was her brother-in-law, because currently her identity was still Sia. Jin Chen was about to lean in and kiss her, but he was stopped by Yuye. Coincidentally, his grandfather also came to the company at that moment and saw this scene. His grandfather was furious and wanted him to take Yuye home immediately. He wanted him to divorce her, but Jin Chen disagreed and defended the woman he loved. He also asserted that he would get the development rights for the city wall area. If not, Yuye, who was living under the name Sia, would have to leave. Back in his office, he comforted her, saying that no matter what others thought, he still loved her. He was about to share a sweet kiss when he was stopped by Xiaorong. Heaven forbid! Xiaorong was immediately fired by him. Xiaorong begged Yuye to find a way to help her. With great difficulty, she managed to get into the company. That night, they went home together. Yuye and Jin Chen greeted the butler. Then, she went out alone. She wanted to call her sister, but she didn't answer. Jin Chen came out at that time, saw her a little anxious, and asked her. Yuye expressed, "What if everything is fake, and I'm fake too?" Jin Chen hugged her and said, "No matter who you are, I will always love you." Then, Yuye ran back into the house. They both changed clothes, and Yuye was about to go out when Jin Chen stopped her. She had to go back to sleep with him, but with a condition: he couldn't touch her body. Yuye told herself she had to control her actions. But then, Jin Chen hugged her and slept until morning. The next morning, Yuye slept soundly in his arms. Yuye blushed and ran outside. She went to the company first and arranged for Xiaorong to be her assistant. When Jin Chen arrived and found out that Yuye had made Xiaorong her assistant, he was stunned and bewildered. At first, he didn't agree, but because of the woman he loved, he had to accept it. Jin Chen assigned work to Xiaorong, then went downstairs to tell manager Zhang to arrange the interview this afternoon. But all three of them fought to go. Jin Chen assigned Secretary Lin and Assistant Long to go, while Yuye stayed behind. Jin Chen wanted her to be more open with him, but Yuye always avoided him. Xiaorong finished her work, then wanted to quickly go up, but she was stopped by Secretary Lin because he knew his boss too well and stopped Xiaorong. The two of them were very close, looking at each other for a longer time. They might fall in love. Coincidentally, manager Zhang saw them and was embarrassed, so he gave him some more work. Jin Chen was hugging Yuye when Xiaorong came to break up their moment. Yuye quickly explained immediately. He had people move their desks outside. Yuye also went to see Xiuxia and was given advice by him. Be yourself and let Jin Chen know everything. Jin Chen knows that Yuye will go to Xiaorong's house to learn more about law tonight, so he won't be going home according to Butler Guy's words. The next day, they secretly went to the company, bad-mouthing Jin Chen when they saw him behind them. Jin Chen asked, "What did you learn about the law last night?" But she couldn't answer anything. Jin Chen knew that Yuye was looking for an excuse to avoid him. He didn't understand why she was doing that. After work, Yuye chatted with Xiaorong about preparing to confess her feelings to Jin Chen tonight. But she didn't expect Yi Jiyu, who was next to her, to hear everything through Secretary Lin's words. Jin Chen also knew that Xiaorong would confess to him tonight. Jin Chen fixed his hair to see if he was handsome enough to receive the confession tonight with the help of Xiuxia. Finally, she was able to complete the romantic space for tonight's confession. While playing the videos she had prepared on the projector, she was interrupted by Yi Jiyu, who showed old pictures of her and Jin Chen. Yi Jiyu said, "Yuye is not worthy of Jin Chen. No matter how hard she tries, you will never be as good as me." Yuye showed strength, saying, she won't be affected by those things. But in fact, she was very sad and thought a lot about her words. Jin Chen had prepared flowers, but he sat and waited and waited. Yuye didn't call him. Yuye skipped the confession and went out to drink with Xiuxia. Worried about Yuye, Xiuxia said, "If you want to know, ask Yuye," and then he turned and left. Yuye, though drunk, still knew who was in front of her was the person she liked. She gave him a bouquet of flowers and said, "I like you." Then they shared a sweet kiss. The next morning when she woke up, She saw Jin Chen making her milk. He also wanted to have a wedding with Yue tomorrow, but Yue didn't agree. She asked to negotiate with him because it was a major event in everyone's life. Soon after, Yue came up with an idea that they could both go for a walk together to find a good day. However, the fortune teller on the street said, "It will be a long time before you two can get married." Immediately, Jin Chen didn't believe him and left. Then, Yue also went to find her useless father, who just ate and played all day long. He was enjoying music when his daughter arrived. She told her father that she was about to marry Jin Chen. Immediately, he disagreed because he was her sister's husband. He said, "You have to keep acting for a while longer." Before Yue left, she didn't forget to declare, "Jin Chen will definitely be mine." Xia was sitting when Liang Yi handed her his phone to watch live TV, and it turned out to be Yu and Jin Chen. Yue didn't hesitate to express her feelings to the public. She loved him very much and was determined not to lose him. Then she also sent a few words to another Xia. "I will not tolerate your weakness anymore. I want to start pursuing my own happiness." Then Xia called Yue. She wanted to ask Yue to continue acting for her. Xia made an appointment with Yue 20 months later. She would appear and tell everything. Yu, who was next to her, also heard the entire conversation between the two sisters. Jin Chen wanted to meet Yue's parents, but she didn't agree because the two of them had divorced. And moreover, their personalities were completely opposite, especially her mother hated people with money the most. At that moment her mother called. She scolded her for announcing her love to the TV, and moreover, it was her sister's husband. She explained it to her and hung up. On the other side, the useless father was playing mahjong when he received a call from CEO Wen. Jin Chen also told Yue, "No matter what, I still want to meet your family." The next day, the useless father went to find Yue's mother. He persuaded her to go meet his son-in-law, but she scolded and chased him away. On the other side, Yue and Jin Chen looked through all the clothes trying to find one that looked the worst, but they couldn't find any. They both had to take each other to the supermarket. No matter how many cheap outfits they tried, Jin Chen still looked very handsome. They were so confused, so they took the worker's outfit from the owner and wore it. With this outfit, Jin Chen finally looked ugly and was approved by Yue. They both prepared very carefully to meet Yue's parents. When Yue's mother came in, she was very satisfied with the simple appearance of her son-in-law. Everyone was very happy, raising a glass of wine to toast to their happiness. Yue's mother was very trusting and said, "I've given my excellent daughter to you." Jin Chen also promised to protect her daughter for the rest of his life. At the same time, Xuzhe and Liang Yi were completely drunk. Xuzhe also confided, "On the 20, when I get the development rights, I will have everything, including the woman I love." Xuzhe glared at Liang. Yi then went to bed and saw a familiar shirt. He opened the photo and saw that it was exactly the same as the photo he had of Xia. Xuzhe seemed to understand everything. He invited Liang Yi out to talk and then punched him. Even though there was evidence, Liang Yi still didn't admit it was him. Xuzhe used his fists to try to punch Liang Yi, but Liang Yi dodged and ended up getting his hand scratched. Liang Yi advised him, "Don't be impulsive and lose a true friendship," and then left. When he arrived at the company the next day, Yue drew up a prenuptial agreement. However, the agreement at home stated that he couldn't touch her body, so Jin Chen didn't agree. He revised the agreement and gave it to her. Coincidentally, Yi Jiyu also arrived. The love rivals made an appointment to meet at a coffee shop. Yi Jiyu continued to provoke Yue. However, now she was not affected by her words and was determined to keep the man she loved. Then, they both returned to the company. Yue let Yi Jiyu talk to Jin Chen about the upcoming project. Yi Jiyu wanted to pursue him again, but in response to her feelings, Jin Chen was ruthless. On the way home, Jin Chen was surprised that Yue wasn't jealous. She always supported him in his work. Yi Jiyu also went to see Liang Yi to update him on the upcoming situation. The competition for development rights with the Wen family's company is currently going well. She also asked him, "Is it really just because of your grandfather that you want to defeat the Wen family?" Liang Yi also replied, "For many other reasons, like money, for example." When they got home, after taking a shower, Yue was changing clothes when Jin Chen came in and they continued to kiss passionately. Then he also received a message from Yi Jiyu asking him to have dinner tomorrow night. She had something important to tell him. The next morning when she arrived at the company, Yue watched Jin Chen discussing work with Yi Jiyu, her eyes burning. Xiao Rong and Secretary Lin also stood by and watched. Seeing that the situation was not good, Yue Yi couldn't stand it anymore. When Yi Jiyu got close to Jin Chen, she decided to go up to confront the issue. It seemed like a fight was about to break out, but no. She just handed him the newly completed plan and returned to her position. Then, Yue Yi mopped the floor so that she could easily observe Yi Jiyu's actions. She even intentionally kicked Yi Jiyu's high heels. Yi Jiyu was resentful, but couldn't do anything. While Yue Yi was washing her hands, Yi Jiyu walked in, looking all over Yi Jiyu, who was wearing all designer clothes. Looking back at herself, Yue Yi felt like she had nothing. She decided to go to the mall to invest in herself. But because the prices were too expensive, she hesitated for a long time and went to the sale. Even though she didn't have money, she still bought Jin Chen a very stylish shirt. She was about to give the shirt to Jin Chen when she found out he had gone out to eat with Yi Jiyu. Jin Chen still maintained his refusal to all the flirtations from Yi Jiyu. At this time, her phone vibrated. Jin Chen also knew that his brother was the investor behind Yi Jiyu's company. Yi Jiyu also spoke about Liang Yi's intentions of manipulating Tian Yi and taking over development rights for him. But you can do everything. She reminded her to tell her brother, "Take care of yourself." Then, Jin Chen left. Yuya, even though she was hungry and slept at the dining table, she was still determined to wait for Jin Chen to come home to eat together. She waited and waited, but he didn't come home. Yuya was about to leave when Jin Chen came back and appeared in front of her. They both had dinner together and talked about what they had experienced together today. The next day, Yi Jiyu was planning to attend the shareholders' meeting with the companies. However, she wasn't allowed in because CEO Wen had crossed her name off the list. Jin Chen was trying on the shirt. His lover bought him at this time. Then, Jin Chen and Wei Yu went to the meeting to compete for the development rights of the project. When Liang Yi also arrived at this time, Jin Chen advised him, "Stop. It's not too late to regret it now." However, someone as arrogant as Liang Yi was not easily defeated. He went on stage and gave a presentation about his project. Everyone was satisfied with his project, thinking that the win was in his hands, but Jin Chen was better. He had prepared a backup plan. The results astonished everyone, and they were very satisfied with his draft project. Amidst the applause of approval, Jin Chen won the development rights. Outside, he asked, "Why did Liang Yi do this? If he does this, the company will collapse, and his grandfather will also collapse." He just explained, "I did it for the person I love," and then left. On the way home, Jin Chen also explained to Yue Yu that Liang Yi did this because he was his father's illegitimate son. His grandfather never recognized him. His father, after his mother died, felt guilty, so he traveled the world. Liang Yi had also returned in sadness for not winning the development rights. He thought back to the time when his grandfather prevented him from marrying Siya and forced Jin Chen to marry Siya for the benefit of the company. Since he was a child, he had given everything to Jin Chen, now even the girl he loved. His grandfather made him give up, so he wasn't willing to accept it. Thinking back, he felt helpless towards himself. Siya hugged him to comfort him. Yo-Yo, at this time, also put on makeup to look beautiful. She held a photo of herself from when she was young with her twin sister. She was going to tell Jin Chen everything tonight, but before she could, her grandfather and Jin Chen showed her a photo of Siya and Liang Yi together. Yo-Ye wanted to tell him, but in the end, she chose to silently endure it. Jin Chen and his grandfather left angrily because they had been deceived. Yo-Ye sat crying alone and called Siya. She wanted her sister to come back to explain everything to her grandfather, but her sister refused. Siya also promised that she would return as soon as possible, then hung up. Jin Chen still didn't know that Yo-Yo had a twin sister. He went to find Liang Yi and asked him if he really loved her. Liang Yi resolutely confirmed that he was doing everything for the woman he loved. Jin Chen left sadly. At this time, Siya also called Liang Yi. She wanted to leave with him. Yo-Yo, at this time, was packing up to leave, despite Gui's attempts to stop her. Her grandfather also declared that she would have no status in the Wen family. Yo-Ye sadly went to find her brother, Xiuzhe, to confide in him. At first, Xiuzhe hugged her, mistaking her for Siya. Yo-Yu told Xiuzhe everything. She always wanted to tell them the truth, but she was afraid they would sue the Yuan family, so she had to keep quiet. Yo-Ye was about to call to explain everything to Jin Chen when she realized he had blocked her. Yo-Ye went to find her best friend to stay the night. Jin Chen was listless in his room. He kept thinking about the memories they had shared, but now it was only a memory. If you don't keep it, don't look for it when it's lost. Ye also couldn't sleep because she missed Jin Chen. Liang Yi and Xiuze had also drunk themselves silly. Liang Yi also confided that he was going to leave this place. The next morning when he woke up, Liang Yi found himself at Xiuze's house. Moreover, Xiuze even thoughtfully prepared breakfast for his drinking buddy. Liang Yi also had good intentions to invest in a restaurant for Xiuze to develop because of his cooking skills. Yo made breakfast for Xiaorong, who was getting ready for work. Secretary Lin had a crush on Xiaorong. He was thinking about her when Xiaorong told him that Director Wen had broken up with Yo. Director Wen called Lin in to give him some work. He also asked the two of them to move in and remove Yue's position. Xiaorong ran in and informed him. Yue was waiting for him downstairs, but Jin Chen wouldn't let her see him. The security guards wouldn't let her in either. She decided to send him the lunchbox she had made through Secretary Lin. When Secretary Lin brought it up to him, he refused it and said, "Take it away." At this time, Secretary Lin also discussed with Xiaorong. Let's use a strategy where both of us get intimate to remind Director Wen of the memories between him and Yo. They fed each other, hugged each other, all for Director Wen to see. After that, they kissed right in front of him. As a result, Director Wen demoted Xiaorong back to the legal department. Back home, Xiaorong was distraught after being demoted. Xiaorong also advised Yo, "You should talk to Jin Chen," but she couldn't do that now because he refused to see her. Yo also discussed her plan with Xiaorong. "We'll open a restaurant and establish our own brand." Yo's plan was enthusiastically supported by Xiaorong. Yo still insisted on bringing lunch for Jin Chen every day, even though he didn't accept it. Yi Jiyu saw this and smiled inside. She wants to bring food for Yo, but she disagreed. Yi Jiyu went up to try to care for him, but Jin Chen ignored her and said, "Go home." He was about to go down to find Yue, but the guard said, "She's gone home." From that day forward, Jin Chen would go downstairs every day to see if she was bringing him lunch, but he never saw Yue again. Jin Chen asked Xiaorong about her situation recently. However, Xiaorong said, "I haven't been able to contact Yue for a few days." This made him even more worried. It was only when Secretary Lin asked that Xiaorong told him that Yue had been looking for a place to open a restaurant for the past few days. She also wrote down the address of the restaurant she was looking at and gave it to him. Immediately, Secretary Lin ran up and gave it to Jin Chen, but he didn't go find her right away. Yue was also struggling to find a place. When she found a place where everything was good, the price was too expensive, making it impossible for her to rent it. She had to go look for another place. Jin Chen stood in the distance and watched, knowing about her current situation. He knew that Yue was having a hard time now. Secretary Lin met Yue and proactively said he wanted to invest to help her. Yue refused because she thought it was Jin Chen's money, despite Secretary Lin's explanation that it was his own. In fact, Secretary Lin's family was very wealthy, but he still worked because he was passionate about it. Secretary Lin also told Jin Chen, "Yue will never leave you." This truly touched Jin Chen's heart. Yue was still struggling because she didn't have any capital. At this time, her mother called and learned about her current situation. She decided to help her. The restaurant was quickly put together. Yo didn't mind doing anything to save costs. From painting the walls to cleaning the house, she did everything. Yo was so busy that she didn't get home until late at night. But every day, there was a Lamborghini shining its headlights behind her. It turned out that Jin Chen was secretly protecting her. Because he followed her for several days, Yo realized something was wrong. She confided in Xiaorong about it. The next morning, Jin Chen went to see his grandfather to inform him that he was going to Singapore soon. It was partly for work, but mainly to ease his sadness. Jin Chen went out to eat with his business partners, but he just wanted to quickly sign the contract so he could go see Yu. He stood in the distance, watching Yue as she was installing a light bulb and fell. He went over to help, but Yue had already spotted him. Seeing this, he hurriedly left. Yue ran out after him, but it was too late. Secretary Lin came and told him that he had booked a flight to Singapore for him. At this time, Jin Chen's phone also received a message from Yue, inviting him to her grand opening the next day. The next day, everyone was bustling about, preparing flowers and gifts to attend Yue's grand opening. However, she waited and waited until the auspicious time had passed, but Jin Chen still hadn't arrived. No matter how much Xiaorong tried to convince her, she still insisted on waiting for Jin Chen because this restaurant was a gift she gave him, because she knew he had the same dream as her. Secretary Lin was currently taking Jin Chen to the airport. He told Jin Chen that everything Yu did was for him. Hearing this, he turned around and went to her grand opening. He was the one who pulled down the sign of the restaurant, which was his English name that he often signed on contracts. Afterward, they embraced and shared a passionate kiss. Taking this opportunity, Secretary Lin also confessed his love to Xiaorong and received her acceptance. Now, only Xu Zhe was still alone. Wen Liangyi also invited Xu Zhe to a bar. He brought the contract about his investment in Xu Zhe's restaurant. They raised their glasses in celebration. Liangyi also advised Xu Zhe, quit drinking and give up the girl who doesn't love you. Focus on work. Wen Liangyi called Yi Jiyu and threatened her. Let my brother and Ye be. I forbid you from touching them again. Otherwise, you will lose everything you have. Then he coldly hung up. Jin Chen was now taking Ye back to her house. Yi was overjoyed to see her and welcomed her back. The first thing she did when she got back was to demand that the engagement be canceled. He didn't understand why she wanted to do that, because it would affect her father. Ye went into her room and called her father, but he didn't answer. The next morning, Ye and Jin Chen went to talk to her grandfather about canceling the engagement. Her grandfather was very happy with his decision, unaware that his grandson was still deeply in love with Ye. However, things couldn't happen because the engagement couldn't be canceled without Ye's father present. He gave her 2 months to find her father. If not, he would sue. Jin Chen was worried that she wouldn't have enough time to find her father, but she said, "Don't worry." Then, she called her mother and asked her to help find her father. That evening, they were both at the store. Ye deliberately cooked spicy food for Jin Chen to see, and he grimaced. She immediately took out her phone to take a picture of Jin Chen. With a grumpy expression, she demanded that he delete the picture, but Ye refused. Jin Chen cornered her. After that, Ye cooked a lot of delicious dishes for him to eat. At this time, Xiaorong had just returned from her first date with Secretary Lin. She felt very bad and wasn't satisfied with the date. Secretary Lin's choices for their first date were too boring for Xiaorong. It was just all traditional activities that a young woman like her wouldn't enjoy. But there was a more important problem. The restaurant had no customers all day. To attract customers, Jin Chen wasn't afraid to work hard. The director of one of China's biggest corporations was now handing out flyers for the woman he loved. However, people weren't receptive. Jin Chen switched tactics, enduring the heat in a bear suit to hand out flyers. Thankfully, people responded enthusiastically. Yu's place was suddenly swamped with orders. She was quickly preparing dishes to get them out to customers. Jin Chen continued to hand out flyers without stopping. At night, he went to the company to work. Despite being busy, he was happy. Initially, he told Secretary Lin he wouldn't go, but thinking of thinking of their romantic moments, Jin Chen went to prepare flowers and arrived at the restaurant. Seeing that Yue and everyone had been drinking because they thought he wouldn't come, Jin Chen winked at Secretary Lin to take Xiaorong out so they'd have some privacy. But the two sisters kept inviting each other out and then back again. Their tolerance was limited, and they both got drunk and couldn't go home alone. The two men had to take on the task of transporting them. Jin Chen carried Yue to her room. This was also the first time she took the lead to kiss him. They exchanged sweet gestures. The next morning, she returned to the restaurant as usual. But there was one thing that made her unhappy. Although the restaurant was full of customers, it only received 1-star reviews. Wen Jun was also massaging Jin Chen and informed him about this immediately. During the meeting, he bought lunch for everyone and asked them to rate the restaurant 5 stars for him. More and more people ate, and the number of reviews increased. Ye was clearing tables when she overheard a conversation at a table next to her, and because of that, she realized that they were all from the company. Not only that, when they ate, they also got 13 yen back. She knew this was Jin Chen's doing. That evening, she told him, "I'm still sad because the cost of supplies is high, and I can't lower the price of the food." Jin Chen immediately thought of a way to take her to the agricultural market on the outskirts of town in the hopes of buying goods at a cheaper price. The next morning, they quickly went to the agricultural market, but Jin Chen didn't know the prices, so he was tricked by a woman. Luckily, Ye was there and bargained for a good price. Back at the company, Jin Chen bought a lot of books about retail markets to learn. Wen Jun was surprised to see the chairman like this. There were many meetings scheduled to discuss projects today, but Jin Chen asked Secretary Lin to cancel them all. He wanted to postpone the meetings until another day. Today was a special day for the woman he loved. It turned out that today was Yue's birthday. Jin Chen had already prepared a cake and flowers. Yue thanked him. Jin Chen also prepared another gift for the woman he loved. He bought her the store without having to rent it. On the other side, Wen Liangyi was also celebrating his birthday with Xia. They thought about the future. As long as we plant vegetables and raise cattle together, we'll be happy as long as we're together. Yu Yu also came up with the game of rock, paper, scissors. Whoever lost would have to drink. Thinking she would be the winner, she actually lost a lot and had to drink continuously. They went home together. Jin Chen also didn't forget to kiss her. The next morning, Yue woke up very early to go to the restaurant. After waking up, Jin Chen realized she had left without him knowing. On the way, Yue was still struggling with herself. She was caught between her brother-in-law and the man she truly loved. She reminded herself she needed to be more restrained. Jin Chen couldn't reach her. Thanks to Secretary Lin, he was able to talk to Yue, but after realizing it was Jin Chen on the other end of the line, she hung up. She continued to eat with Xiaorong. It was late, and Yue hadn't returned, so he was very worried. Jin Chen went out to look for her, and received a message from her to Gi, saying she would be home late. "Everyone, please rest first, don't wait up for me." But she didn't know that Jin Chen had seen her sneak out and had run out after her. They both went upstairs together. Jin Chen asked her why she was always avoiding him. He said no matter what she was like, or who she was, he would always love her. He would always be there to protect her. Then, they make love to each other. The next day, when she went to work, Yue realized she was nauseous. She immediately ran to the drugstore. Jin Chen saw her. Yue was wearing very modest clothing and was buying medicine. Jin Chen followed her as soon as she left. He ran in to ask what she bought and found out she had purchased a pregnancy test. Jin Chen also thought that Yue might be pregnant, so he sought Wenjun's advice. After receiving advice from Wenjun, Jin Chen decided to talk to his grandfather about this. He hoped his grandfather would give his little loved one a chance. When Jin Chen got home, he saw that Yu had just taken the pregnancy test and was looking at the results. Jin Chen was stunned, completely shocked to see 2 bright red lines. He was very happy and joyful. Jin Chen immediately wanted to take Yue to tell his grandfather, because he knew his grandfather always wanted a ton of grandchildren. As they were leaving the door, Yue's mother also brought her father. After searching all the tea houses in the city, Jin Chen told her parents that Yue was pregnant. Her useless father kept praising Jin Chen for his youthful vigor. Then, Jin Chen took Yue to see his grandfather. Initially, Yue thought her grandfather wouldn't approve of her, but the results were completely the opposite. Not only did he not cancel the engagement, but he also liked her very much. After learning the news, he arranged for her to have a healthy diet and prepared a prenatal care team for her. He also prepared another separate car for the young couple to ensure their safety. When he got home, everyone happily ate together. Jin Chen had already thought of a name for their child, even though Wenjun objected, but the 2 of them still thought the name was beautiful and resolutely kept it. But even more unexpectedly, while they were eating, Yue started to have a stomachache. After going to the bathroom, she realized she had her period. It turned out that she bought a fake pregnancy test, which is why this happened. Yue wanted to tell her grandfather, but Jin Chen wouldn't let her because he was afraid that he would kick her out of the Wen family. The next morning, as soon as he woke up, Jin Chen gave her the family registration book, so they could go register for marriage. Yue didn't want things to happen so quickly, but she agreed to do as he asked. Jin Chen had already prepared matching outfits for the 2 of them to go to the registry office. They both stepped inside and presented their registration books. But when it was Yue's turn, she took it back and decided to go out. She told Jin Chen everything, that she was Xia's twin sister. She was Yue, not Xia. She explained everything, which surprised Jin Chen. She also sincerely apologized to him. He wasn't angry or sad, but loved her even more. He wanted Yue to never lie or hide anything from him again. Then, they hugged each other tightly. Jin Chen also met with his brother, Liangyi, to tell him everything. He advised his brother to stay and explain to their grandfather, making everything easier. But Liangyi refused. When he got home, Jin Chen encountered his 82nd tribulation when his grandfather moved in. He also invited Dr. Zhang to check Yue's pregnancy. In a roundabout way, Yue ended up having a urine test. They were both nervous. While waiting for the results, as soon as Dr. Zhang came out, before he could say anything, Yi slipped him a red envelope. Dr. Zhang said Yue was pregnant. Even if he hadn't received the envelope, the results would have been the same. But everyone thought that Dr. Zhang only said that because of the envelope. That evening, as soon as Jin Chen laid down to sleep with his wife, his grandfather knocked on the door and sent him downstairs. He forbade him from sleeping with his wife to avoid affecting her pregnancy. Jin Chen refused, but he couldn't disobey his grandfather's orders. Later, Jin Chen tried to sneak up to his wife, but his grandfather was still awake, so he gave up. The next morning, his grandfather woke him up very early to go with him to the jewelry store to choose things for his future granddaughter-in-law. Not beating around the bush, he went straight for the most expensive items. As long as he liked something, that's what he got. Price was no issue. Next was the engagement party decoration. This time, he made Jin Chen choose the style he wanted. Jin Chen simply chose the most expensive thing without looking or thinking much. When they got home, he gave all the boxes, big and small, to his future granddaughter-in-law, Yueyu. When she opened the box, she was very happy and delighted. She thanked him for the gift. Jin Chen also tried to explain the situation to him, but he wouldn't listen. He just wanted his granddaughter-in-law to be safe and give him a great grandchild. At this time, through Yijiyu, Xiuzhe also knew the whole story. His closest friend was actually the person Siya was in love with. Xiuzhe could only sit alone and drink until he was drunk and needed a fishing rod. At this time, Liang Yi also came to the bar. Without thinking, he went for it. As soon as Xiuzhe saw Liang Yi, he punched him straight in the face. The evidence was clear, so he couldn't deny it. Liang Yi gave Xiuzhe a callous reply. "I can lose everything, but not Siya." Then, he finished his drink and left. The next day was their happy day. Everyone had prepared for the final stages, but there was one problem with Wen Jun. Xiaorong was angry with him. After discovering the photo of her ex-boyfriend, Wen Jun thought he was just a replacement, so they had a fight and hadn't reconciled. To repair their relationship, Jin Chen asked Wen Jun and Siya to pick up Yueyu for him. As soon as Yueyu stepped out of the hall, she received a call from her sister, Siya. Her sister begged Yueyu, "Help me one last time. Leave first. Go back to your hometown and hide for a while. Your sister will come to find you tonight." Consider this Yueyu helping her for the last time. Yueyu didn't want to, but she had no choice. She left despite Xiaorong, and Wen Jun eagerly waiting for her. But then, Siya came to the wedding because she knew that if her grandfather found out she had faked her pregnancy, he wouldn't forgive her. As soon as she entered, Jin Chen knew that she wasn't Yueyu. His grandfather also arrived. After learning the truth, he kicked her out. He arranged for her to be taken to a place where no one would know her. Then, his grandfather also fired Dr. Zhang, even though the doctor tried to explain that Yueyu was actually pregnant, but his grandfather didn't believe him. Jin Chen also said everything that was in his heart. He had never been able to live the life he wanted. It was all his grandfather's arrangement. Then he left. Jin Chen also went to Yueyu's mother's house and met with her. Yueyu was worried about her sister, but Jin Chen told her to relax, that his brother would protect her sister. Then the two of them went to the shopping mall. By chance, they ran into Yueyu's friends from her hometown. The new guys tried to challenge Jin Chen to a fight. However, after several rounds of trying his best, he couldn't win against them. Only when Yueyu got on the game machine could she beat them. She still teased Jin Chen for relying on women. Hearing this, Yueyu took him away. Then, they both went to the love bridge. It was then that he proposed and gave her the engagement ring, bringing them both joy. Jin Chen also decided to tell his grandfather everything. At this time, Yijiyu also walked in. He wanted him to marry Yijiyu, but he refused. Then, Yijiyu went outside to meet him privately. "Just appear with her at the trade event, and she will tell Chairman Wen that she doesn't like you." Jin Chen agreed to the deal. Even though it was late, Yueyu still sat at home waiting for Jin Chen to return. She was showing signs of morning sickness. At this time, Jin Chen had returned home. He promised Yueyu that he would tell his grandfather everything. Even if he was kicked out of Wenxi, he would accept it. Wen Liang Yi was now diligently searching for Siya. He had people investigate and found out that she was pregnant, but her current location was still unknown. He sat at the bar sadly drinking. At that time, Xiuzhe also came. The two of them drank together and talked like friends instead of rivals. Maybe Xiuzhe had finally let go. Jin Chen had now fulfilled Yijiyu's demands. He appeared with her at the event, went to eat with her, and then took her home. However, she broke the deal when she interviewed Yijiyu and released photos of them together from college. Jin Chen was afraid that Yueyu would be upset, so he went to see her. Not only was Yueyu not upset, but she also laughed because the photos surprised Jin Chen so much. Because she didn't believe the news in the newspapers, she only trusted and loved the man she loved. While happily with Ye, Jin Chen received news that bad rumors were spreading about him, causing the stock price to plummet. He went to see Yu and confronted her about her actions. His grandfather also called him. When he got home, Jin Chen and his grandfather had an argument. Jin Chen was determined to stay with the woman he loved, despite his grandfather's opposition. This and the fact that the stock price plummeted recently, causing the company to suffer heavy losses, led to his grandfather officially disowning him. Jin Chen left Wenxi. He and Yo left the villa, gave Gi tea, and then went to the hotel. But unfortunately for him, his grandfather had frozen his account, so he didn't have a penny left. They had to leave. Ye was still very optimistic, saying she would support him with a small amount of money in her account. They stayed in a regular motel. Xiuzhe found out about the situation, so the next day, he went to check on them and offered to help. However, they both said they were fine and thanked him for his kindness. The next day, they went to the hospital for a checkup. Ye discovered that she was indeed pregnant. However, the cost of the examination was quite high, leaving them both broke. Jin Chen tried to call his grandfather, but he couldn't get through. But he didn't know about his grandfather's current condition. Liang Yi was by his side and also wouldn't answer his calls. Jin Chen thought that his grandfather wasn't answering because he was angry. They decided to stay with Xiuzhe. Xiuzhe was also very happy to have them over, because he always considered Ye his little sister. Currently, his grandfather was still in critical condition, but Liang Yi still hadn't informed Jin Chen. Because of him, the situation was as dangerous as it was. That evening, the problem was that Xiuzhe's house only had one bed. Because Ye was pregnant, Jin Chen couldn't sleep with his wife. The two brothers fought over the sofa, but Xiuzhe was quicker, so Jin Chen had to sleep on the floor. The next morning, Ye woke up very surprised to see her husband sleeping with Xiuzhe. The two brothers prepared breakfast together. Then, the two of them went to the supermarket to buy the things Ye had asked for. They bought a lot of necessities and food. When it came time to pay, Jin Chen wanted to get more things, but because he had no money, he had to accept Xiuzhe's refusal. He called Xiao Rong to try and get his salary, but he found out the situation was very bad. She was even in debt to the restaurant for a month. Jin Chen and Ye went to the restaurant and learned that the restaurant owed food wages to several parties. Luckily, Secretary Lin came and decided to invest a large sum of money, so they could settle the debts. Wen Jun also took Xiao Rong to eat with him. He promised to change and would always love her like the first day. Wen Jun was aware of the company's current situation. He also wanted to inform Jin Chen, but Wen Liang Yi wouldn't allow it. Liang Yi went to the hospital and held his grandfather's hand to apologize. He hoped he would recover quickly. The next morning when she woke up, Ye was very surprised to see that Jin Chen had prepared a thoughtful breakfast for her and Xiuzhe. They all sat down at the table to eat. Then, Jin Chen and Ye went to buy ingredients together. Jin Chen was clueless about prices before, but now he is an expert. He knew how to bargain and got a good price. Jin Chen also decided to become a server at the restaurant. Yi came to eat and was very surprised to see Wen's current situation. Everyone stood in the distance and watched what was happening between him and Yi. They were all worried that Jin Chen was depressed because of this. It was a big blow to him. From the CEO running the entire corporation, he was now a waiter. That night, the three of them discussed a plan. They all agreed that Jin Chen was really not suited to being an employee. The next day, when he arrived at the restaurant, Jin Chen was forced by everyone to sit still and let the three of them handle everything else. Sitting still made Jin Chen feel restless. He tried to help, but Ye stopped him. He understood everyone's good intentions. That night, Jin Chen told them that he had actually been very happy these past few days and was able to be himself. Then, the three of them went to karaoke. Ye went to rest first. Wen Jun and Xiao Rong drank a lot. That night, they both lost control and made love to each other. Ye was still in bed waiting for her husband. She was determined not to sleep before he came back. Jin Chen was very happy to see this. He said that these were the simple things he had always wanted. Jin Chen held Ye in his arms like a child. The next morning when he woke up, Wen Jun realized that he had done something wrong the night before, so he took the bottle cap from a soda bottle as a temporary engagement ring for Xiao Rong. At this time, Jin Chen also received a call saying that his grandfather was seriously ill. Immediately, Jin Chen and Ye went to the hospital. Even more surprisingly, he saw his father there. After all those years of being missing, it turned out that Yue had posted articles looking for him on travel websites, so he came back after hearing the news. Luckily, the surgery went smoothly, so his grandfather was out of danger. Yue also stayed by his side to take care of him every day. Thanks to this, he quickly woke up. The first shock he received after waking up was seeing his son back, his granddaughter-in-law, and his grandson by his side, worrying about him. Yue was about to avoid him a little bit, but he pulled her back. He said he wanted to eat the food that his granddaughter-in-law had made. After he recovered, the whole family went to their restaurant to eat and drink. Everyone had a great time chatting together. The two sides had reconciled and there was no lawsuit. After eating and drinking, everyone sat down to have tea and chat. His grandfather also called Yue over to thank her for taking care of him. He decided to fulfill any wish Yue had, but she only wanted him to do one small thing. Smile a big, genuine smile. Grandfather, you can do anything, even take me to the moon, and I'll agree. But that seems hard for you because you've never smiled. However, he had just said that he would fulfill all her wishes, so he tried to force a smile. Everyone chatted happily. Currently, his grandfather officially acknowledged Wen Liangyi. He also wanted him to move in with him soon. After this hospital stay, he realized that the most important things in his life were his family, not money or status. Jin Chen sat and talked privately with his brother, Liangyi. He also said that he would have a wedding gift for the two of them tomorrow at the company. He told Jin Chen to go to the company tomorrow, and he'd find out. The next day, as soon as he arrived at the company, Jin Chen received resignation letters from everyone. They wanted to go work for Liang Yi's Tianyi company because the benefits were better. Even manager Zhang was ready with his resignation letter. Just then, the news came out that Wen Liangyi had surrendered himself. He was detained for engaging in unfair competition. Just as quickly as an ex-lover changes their tune, manager Zhang quickly retracted his resignation letter. Xia also went to visit Wen Liangyi. He could only apologize for not being able to bring her complete happiness. But Xia was still waiting there for the day he would return. The two fathers of the year were now enjoying themselves at a tea house. Life is not a dream. They were enjoying themselves, and then they were dragged back by their wives. The two uncles sadly went back home. Back home, everyone was having fun playing. Truth or dare. Even his grandfather joined in on the fun. Jin Chen and Yue were relieved. On the other hand, Xiaorong and Wen Jun were also dating. Wen Jun himself transformed and acted out traditional customs for Xiaorong. At the end of the performance, he took out a diamond ring to propose to her. Everyone had finally found their happiness. The next day, a fleet of supercars was prepared for the wedding of the two Wen brothers. Because there was no lawsuit, Liang Yi returned safely to celebrate the wedding with his brother. However, when they walked into the wedding hall, it was time, but the bride wasn't there. The two brothers took two dogs to represent their wives and perform the ceremonies. Just then, the door opened, and the two sisters appeared. They looked so alike that it was impossible to tell them apart. Jin Chen also chose his wife very accurately. They shared sweet kisses and took a family picture. The movie ends here. Spend 3 seconds subscribing to our channel to support us. Thank you for watching our channel. See you in our next film. Okay, the movie review ends here. Goodbye and see you in the next episodes.